The story begins at the time when God grew tired of ruling the world, and so he sent an immortal orb to Earth to take his place. The orb landed directly on a rock and took the shape of that rock. After some time, the entire area was covered in heavy snow. In the meantime, an injured wolf fell onto the rock and died there due to its injuries. Upon contact with the wolf, the orb transformed itself into the wolf, inheriting all its major characteristics. The wounds didn't significantly affect the orb, as it possessed the power to regenerate itself. Following this, the orb, in the form of the wolf, reached an abandoned settlement, where a boy hugged the wolf, calling it Joanne. From the boy's demeanor, it was clear that he was the owner of this wolf, but he didn't know that his wolf was already dead and what stood before him was an entirely different entity. The boy explained that he lived alone in the settlement, and his whole family had gone to the southern region to find a new place to live, as it was believed the southern area had a good environment along with plenty of fruits. He was told to stay back and look after his grandmother and the other elders. However, one by one, all his companions died, and now he was the only one left, waiting for his family to return. That same day, he caught a very large fish. Going home, he cut it into pieces, preparing a meal for the orb and himself with half, and hanging the remaining fish on the wall where some other fish were already drying. The next day, the boy decided to go to the southern region to search for his family. He packed all his belongings and set out with the orb. On the way, they saw a mark on a rock, which the boy recognized immediately as one left by his family to help anyone who came looking for them. For the next few days, the boy continued forward with the orb in excitement. He wanted to reunite with his family as soon as possible. But then one day, the ice under his foot broke and his leg went into the water. At first he thought he was fine, but then he noticed a deep wound on his thigh. Without thinking much, he covered the wound and continued on his way. However, within the next few days, the wound started taking a toll on his body and his condition slowly deteriorated. Then, one day on the road, he saw a cross marked over the sign on a rock, which meant that no one from his family had survived past that point. Seeing this, tears welled up in the boy's eyes. Already very weak from his injury, he decided to return home. He kept the wolf with him the entire way. By the time they reached home, he was extremely weak and knew he probably wouldn't survive, but he still didn't give up. However, after a few days, the boy realized he wasn't going to make it. So, he dragged himself to his favorite chair and began looking at the pictures of his family members that he had drawn. After a while, he also passed away. After the boy's death, the orb transformed itself into his shape. Following this, it set out to travel the world and understand it better. Throughout its journey, it knew nothing about anything called food, repeatedly dying of hunger. But this was no problem for the orb, as it could revive itself with its powers. Initially, this took 12 days, but gradually it started doing it in just a few hours. After many days of traveling this way, it left the snowy regions and reached dense forests. But then a very large bear attacked it from behind and killed it. Meanwhile, in the village of Nanana, a little girl named March was playing with her doll, which she treated like her child. A girl named Perona, who was like an older sister to March, also lived in the village. March was always eager to grow up and would constantly pester her parents about it. A little later, some soldiers from the Yona nation arrived in the village because this time a child from Nanana village was to be sacrificed. This sacrifice was performed to maintain peace in the entire region, and the selection was to be made by an old woman named Purin. After a brief inspection, Purin chose March for the sacrifice. Immediately, all the villagers began congratulating March's parents. March couldn't understand anything, so she went home and asked her parents the reason behind the congratulations. Crying, they told her the whole story. Hearing this, March became furious, as she didn't want to die this way. She still wanted to grow up and live her youth, which she was eagerly awaiting. Just then, some Yona Nation soldiers entered their room. Their leader, Hayase, told March's parents to stay away from her. Hayase was now going to look after March until the sacrifice. A little later, all the villagers came to give gifts to March, and inwardly they were all happy because none of their children were being sacrificed. March's friend Lala also brought her a flower as a gift. For the next few days, Hayase stayed with March constantly. On the day of her departure, March's parents tearfully bid her farewell, but a little later, their caravan was attacked by someone. It was none other than Perona. In the confusion, March tried to escape, but she slipped and fell into a pond. There, she saw a man reviving himself while ET was the orb. Meanwhile, the soldiers from Yona Nation were confused upon seeing the orb and ended up running away. After the soldiers left, March began following the orb, trying to talk to it, but she didn't know that the orb couldn't speak. After going a little distance, the orb suddenly started eating a fruit like a dog. Seeing this, March immediately realized that the orb was actually very innocent. They then reached a tree with many ripe fruits. Seeing them, March immediately climbed the tree and brought down a ripe fruit for the orb. But the orb knocked it down with its hand and started eating it like a dog again. This made March angry, but from its way of eating, she understood that the orb hadn't eaten for many days. So she climbed the tree and began throwing fruits towards the orb. After satisfying its hunger, March taught it to say thank you. She held its face and taught it to speak, just as a mother teaches her child. After this, the two found a safe place and spent the whole night there. But while sleeping, March had a scary dream where she saw that after her escape, Lala was being sacrificed in her place. Frightened by this, she woke up. The next morning, March decided to leave, and the orb constantly followed her. March tried to stop it many times by offering it different fruits, but the orb would finish the fruit and then follow her again. Giving up, March decided to learn more about the orb, but there was no response from the orb. Then March gave it a name, Fushi. Meanwhile, Hayase had assigned 2 soldiers to keep an eye on Perona, but both were busy talking. Perona cleverly pulled out a knife and began cutting her ropes to free her hands and feet. Just then, a very large bear attacked the soldiers, killing one, and the other fled, leaving Perona behind. As the bear moved toward Perona, she managed to free her hands just in time and started running. The bear chased her for quite a while, but Perona saved herself by jumping off a cliff. After jumping, she landed in the same pond where March had met Fushi. Recovering herself, Perona set out to find March. Meanwhile, Hayase had also found March, and March started walking with her without any argument. Perona, still searching for March, saw Fushi. She immediately approached Fushi and asked about March, but Fushi just walked on silently without saying anything. Hayase gave March a black jelly, claiming this special jelly was only given to the chosen ones. Despite the jelly's terrible taste, March quietly ate it. In the meantime, Hayase asked March about Fushi, but March herself didn't know Fushi well enough, so she had no answer. Just then, the surviving soldier arrived and told Hayase about the attack they suffered. As soon as he named the bear Oniguma, they were all surprised, as Oniguma was the bear they usually sacrificed. As soon as March finished the jelly and passed out, Hayase and her companions carried March to the place of sacrifice, where they tied her up. After a few minutes, the bear Oniguma also arrived there. However, Perona also reached the spot. Seeing the bear so close to March, she immediately rushed forward to save her. The soldiers tried to stop her, but Hayase stopped them, saying that Oniguma could easily eat 2 people at once. Just then, Fushi also arrived there. Hayase and her companions tied them up there and left. Fushi walked straight up to Oniguma, who grabbed its head in one go. But this time, Fushi tried its best to stop it, using all its strength. After a few minutes, it transformed itself into the wolf and began attacking Oniguma. A fight ensued between the two, with Fushi learning something new with every attack. Hayase and her companions watched all this from above. At the end of the long fight, Fushi defeated Oniguma. Hayase was shocked and couldn't believe that anyone could defeat Oniguma. After Oniguma's defeat, when March woke up, Perona moved forward to untie her hands, but Hayase stopped her, saying she couldn't let them go back. However, she said they could all come with her to Yona. March then offered Fushi a fruit, after which Fushi approached March and said, "Thank you." We are shown a flashback revealing that just like March, Perona's sister was also sacrificed to Oniguma. This had a very bad effect on Perona, and since then, she had vowed not to let anyone else suffer such a fate. Upon reaching Yona, Hayase revealed that she wasn't actually an educated shaman, but a criminal who was sent to Yona to work. She claimed all their actions were for the sake of the Yona nation. In reality, Yona nation was interested in the money from the Nenana village, which is why they participated in all the rituals. In return, Nenana village sent them all the supplies, which is why they didn't want to stop the practice of sacrifice. A little later, they reached Yona, where Hayase told them they could buy anything they liked and the Yona government would cover all the expenses. Just then, March noticed a letter writer in the market and immediately went to him because she wanted to send a letter to her parents, but she couldn't because she didn't know her parents' exact address. Perona promised her that she would soon find out the address and return. March then made an imprint of her hand on a piece of paper, claiming it was a mark that she was okay, which she would send to her parents soon. After this, they were all taken to a restaurant for a meal, where everyone ate heartily. Fushi also learned to eat with chopsticks. However, before finishing their food, they all passed out. This was all according to Hayase's plan, who had mixed sleeping medicine in their food. When Fushi woke up, he was locked in a jail cell. Outside, Hayase was telling her seniors about Fushi's unique powers, suggesting Fushi could play a crucial role in their country's army. To demonstrate this, Hayase sent a dangerous criminal into Fushi's room with the task of attacking Fushi so he would use his powers in self-defense. The criminal was promised freedom if he succeeded, and that's exactly what happened. When the criminal attacked, Fushi immediately healed his wound and attacked the criminal. Hayase's seniors were very happy to see Fushi's marvelous powers and wanted to make good use of him. Afterward, Fushi was locked in the same cell as March. Above them was Perona, who told March to find various things in her cell and send them to Perona's cell, using a rope so Perona could use them to escape. Following Perona's instructions, March sent an arrow and a few other items to Perona using the rope. After this, Fushi, having transformed into the wolf, started digging, which led straight to Oniguma's cell. Hayase caught Fushi and March in Oniguma's cell, after which she assigned March the responsibility of looking after Oniguma. Meanwhile, Perona had prepared her entire plan. After escaping, she planned to kill the bear and take a token of it with her, which she wanted to show to the people of Ninana village to stop the sacrifice ritual. While cleaning the bear, March started feeling pity for it. In her opinion, Oniguma was not dangerous, but people were afraid of it because of its large size. However, a little later, Oniguma died due to its injuries, and Fushi immediately stored all its characteristics. Meanwhile, Perona had escaped from her cell and reached the storeroom, where a soldier spotted her. But Perona immediately attacked and easily defeated him. After this, she went to March's cell to free her. She took March, Fushi, and Pioran out of the cell. Before leaving, she wanted to take a part of Oniguma's body with her, but March stopped her, saying they could inform people about this in some other way, and shouldn't do this to Oniguma. Following this, the four of them started making their way outside using the underground sewage system. They also found a horse-drawn carriage, which they quickly took and sped away. After a while, they realized that Hayase and her soldiers were chasing them. To stop them, Perona began shooting arrows at them, but Hayase continued to approach them very fast. Soon, a soldier climbed onto their carriage. Perona was busy fighting the soldier, and Hayase aimed her arrow at her. But just as Hayase released her arrow, March jumped in between, and the arrow hit her directly in the back. Seeing this, Fushi became furious and attacked Hayase. When Hayase shot an arrow at Fushi in defense, Fushi this time transformed into Oniguma and began to wreak havoc. Seeing March in this state, Perona saw all the moments they had spent together flash before her eyes. She wanted to save March, but there was little she could do now. March died in front of her eyes shortly after. Fushi was rampaging in anger when Perona took March in her arms and jumped off the carriage. She reached Fushi and asked him to calm down. As Fushi calmed down, Perona tried to take her own life with a broken sword, but Fushi, already possessing March's expressions, used them to stop Perona. The soldiers knew they could attack Perona now, so they all shot arrows at her when they got the chance. Fushi transformed once again just in time and saved her. After this, he carried Perona on his back and continuously headed towards Ninana village. Hayase lay injured on the ground. A little later, news reached Ninana village that a very large bear was quickly approaching them. Hearing this, all the villagers were scared, but when they saw Perona on the bear's back, they were all shocked. Upon reaching Ninana village, Perona got off Fushi's back and went to March's parents, showing them March's handprint, which she had made before dying. She told them that March meant that she was perfectly fine. Seeing this, March's parents wept loudly. They regretted not having tried to save March at all. They also thanked Perona. Just then, a man ran to them and told them that Hayase and her soldiers were approaching Ninana village very fast. Hearing this, Perona understood that this time they were coming to capture Fushi. So, she immediately asked Fushi to run away from there. Listening to Perona, Fushi silently transformed into the wolf and went into the dense forests. Perona and some soldiers climbed a large tower to prevent Hayase from reaching Fushi, so Perona shot an arrow at Hayase, which hit her hand. Fushi wandered alone in the forest. Whenever he was hungry, he would take March's form, climb a tree, and pluck fruit. Meanwhile, he smelled a scent he had smelled before. Going closer, he found that it was none other than Perona, who was shocked to see March in front of her. A little later, she realized that it was Fushi, not March, in front of her. He changed back to his original form and went inside the carriage, where he saw March's bloodstain. Seeing this, he became very sad and stood silently before continuing deeper into the forest. Seeing him leave, Perona also started following him, as she didn't want to be alone again. After walking for 2 continuous days without food, Perona was exhausted and very hungry, so she cut Fushi's injured foot. Fushi, to satisfy her hunger, took March's form, climbed a tree and picked fruits to fill her stomach. After this, Perona started teaching Fushi to read and write. She would write different words on the ground for Fushi and ask him to copy them. She even taught Fushi to write his own name this way. Her only condition was that Fushi would take good care of her. Perona also taught Fushi all the fundamentals such as fire, water, and non-vegetarian food. After this, they reached a city where there was a port. Fushi could now talk very well and could even say good night. In this way, he also told Perona the story of meeting the boy for the first time and how he had changed his life. A little later, they reached their destination. Getting off the boat, Perona told Fushi that she was going to meet her lover the next day, but they had to stay in the forest that night. While sleeping that night, a strange creature suddenly attacked Fushi and took his form. Fushi had no choice but to fight it, so he took the form of the wolf. Just then, a man in black clothes emerged from under the earth and told Fushi that he was the one who created the orb. He told Fushi that to defeat his enemy, Fushi would have to destroy the core embedded in the creature's chest. Following this, Fushi attacked the creature in his wolf form, but he was unsuccessful. So the next time, Fushi took the form of the bear and tore the creature in half, but he was defeated again at the crucial moment. After this, Fushi took March's form and attacked again, and this time he succeeded in extracting the core and defeating the creature. Fushi was sitting on the ground holding the core when the man in black clothes came to him and told him that he created the orb to protect this world. But now some people were chasing Fushi to stop him. He said they would meet again very soon.